They say that the walls of a family home are built with love, but sometimes they are held together by nothing more than the thin, cold threads of greed. Imagine for a second that you are 75 years old. You have spent 4 decades waking up before the sun, working until your bones ache, and pouring every drop of your sweat into a legacy for your children. You built a mansion, not just out of brick and mortar, but out of dreams and security. Now, imagine sitting in that very house, listening to the muffled whispers of your own flesh and blood in the next room, realizing they aren't talking about your health or your happiness. They are talking about you as if you were already dead. They are counting the rooms, calculating the square footage, and deciding which realtor will get the highest commission when they finally get rid of you. This is a story that will make your heart race and your blood boil. It's a story about a betrayal so deep it defies the laws of nature, but it's also a story about a man who was 10 steps ahead of the people who thought he was walking into his sunset. If you've ever felt like the world underestimates the wisdom of age, or if you've ever seen a family torn apart by the lure of a bank account, this story is for you. This is the account of a Sunday drive that was meant to be a final imprisonment, and the secret legal strike that turned a mansion into a trap. The plot began in the shadows of a beautiful estate. My name is Thomas, and I thought I had raised 3 successful, independent adults. My oldest, Julian, was a lawyer. My daughter, Claire, was in luxury real estate. My youngest, Simon, was always looking for the next big break. From the outside, we looked like the perfect family. But after my wife passed away, the atmosphere in the house changed. It stopped being a home and started being a trophy. I saw the way they looked at the crown molding, the way they touched the antique furniture. They weren't admiring my hard work. They were checking the inventory. The plan they orchestrated was as clear as it was cruel. They wanted to interdict me. They wanted a judge to sign a piece of paper saying I was incapable, confused, or unfit to manage my own life. Why? Because as long as I was the owner of that mansion, they couldn't touch the millions of dollars tied up in its walls. They needed me out of the way so they could liquidate my life and split the proceeds. They thought because I moved a little slower and forgot where I put my glasses occasionally, that my mind had turned to fog. They mistook my silence for senility. They had no idea that behind my quiet eyes, I was watching every move they made. I heard the phone calls. I saw the pamphlets for senior living centers hidden in their bags. They were building a cage, and they were using the excuse of protection to lock the door. The turning point came on a bright, deceptively beautiful Sunday afternoon. Julian and Claire showed up at the house, smiling wider than I'd seen in years. They told me we were going for a special outing. A walk in the park, a nice lunch, a drive through the countryside to see the spring flowers. I knew exactly what was happening. I had seen the email on Julian's laptop a week earlier, a confirmation for a voluntary evaluation at the Pines nursing home, a high-end facility 2 hours away. As I sat in the back seat of Julian's expensive car, I watched the familiar sights of my town disappear. My children were chatting about the weather, about their lives, acting as if they were about to dump their father at the gates of a facility and drive away with his keys. The betrayal was a physical weight in the car. When we pulled up to the manicured lawn of the nursing home and the staff walked out with a wheelchair, my daughter turned to me with fake tears in her eyes. "Dad," she said, "it's just for a little while. You've been so confused lately. We just want you to be safe." It was a brutal break of trust. They didn't even have the courage to tell me the truth until they had me trapped at the entrance. They thought they had won. They thought that once I was signed in, they could head straight back to the mansion, change the locks, and put up the for sale sign. They treated me like a piece of luggage they were checking into a locker. But what they conveniently ignored was that I was the one who taught Julian how to read a contract. I was the one who taught Claire how to spot a bluff. And I had been busy long before that Sunday drive. What they didn't know, what they never bothered to check because they were so blinded by their own greed, was that the mansion was no longer mine. At least, not in the way they thought. Months before their evaluation, I had visited my own attorney. I didn't go to Julian. I went to a man I'd known for 30 years who specialized in asset protection. We had moved the entire estate, the house, the accounts, and the physical assets into an irrevocable trust. In the eyes of the law, I didn't own the house anymore. The trust did, and the trust had very specific rules. It was a legal fortress, an irreversible shield that I had built to ensure that my legacy would never be dismantled by a group of entitled heirs. I had set it up so that the moment any attempt was made to declare me incompetent or to move me against my will, a set of contingency triggers would activate. I had turned my home into a legal landmine for anyone who tried to steal it. While they were signing the intake forms at the nursing home, thinking they were finally taking control, they were actually triggering their own downfall. The discovery happened the very next morning. My children stayed at the mansion that night, probably opening bottles of my best wine, celebrating the hard decision they had made for Dad's own good. They were likely already arguing over who would get the master bedroom until the sale went through. But at 8 a.m., there was a knock at the door. It wasn't the realtor. It was a process server. When Julian opened the door, he wasn't handed a sales agreement. He was handed an eviction notice. The trust, acting as the legal owner of the property, had identified that the residents of the house, my children, were no longer authorized to be on the premises. Because they had attempted to move the primary beneficiary, me, to a facility under false pretenses, the trust's bad actor clause had been activated. The house they coveted so much, it was gone. Their right to inherit it vanished. The law was clear. They had 30 minutes to pack their bags. The mansion they thought was their treasure was now a place they were legally barred from entering. The internment they planned for me became a homelessness they created for themselves. The trust moved me to a luxury hotel that same afternoon, while my children were left standing on the sidewalk with their suitcases, realizing that the old man they tried to trick had played the ultimate game of chess. The internment only lasted 24 hours because the Pines nursing home quickly realized I was perfectly lucid and that my children had no legal power of attorney to keep me there. I walked out of that facility a free man, and I went straight to a new home that my children will never find. They tried to use my age as a weapon, so I used my wisdom as a shield. They thought my pen was dry, but it had enough ink left to rewrite the ending of their lives. The mansion is now being converted into a foundation for elder rights, ensuring that no other father in this town has to fear a Sunday walk with his children. It is a painful lesson, isn't it? A lesson about what happens when greed replaces respect and when ambition outruns character. My children lost a father and a fortune in the same day, all because they couldn't wait for a natural end. They wanted the prize without the person. Now, they have neither. What do you think about this turn of events? Do you believe that justice was truly served, or did the father go too far? Is it ever right for children to take control of their parents' assets for their own good? Or is it almost always about the money? We want to hear your stories. Have you seen a family destroyed by an inheritance, or have you seen a parent make a brilliant move to protect themselves? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about the value of wisdom and the price of betrayal. And if this story moved you, please share it. There are too many people out there who think that getting older means getting weaker. Let's show them that sometimes the oldest lion in the forest is the one you should never, ever try to cage.